Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I would like to discuss about the retail experiences that all customers go through while going shopping, whether it's on foot, on or online. Not too long ago, when we thought that the only way to shop was to go into our cars and then head to the local store or to the mall, was the only experience or the only way we could actually buy stuff. We never thought immediately that the online commerce would just explode in the last 10 years. And first thing that comes to mind when we think about online retail is for sure Amazon, as well as other online stores or online services like eBay. But one of the peculiar things that we always thought that was going to happen was the expansion and the availability of the products. So Amazon started by selling books, selling online a huge variety of books and expanding its operation worldwide. Slowly it started to expand towards other types of products like electronics, clothing, shoes, and then all the way up to the grocery services. In fact, now Amazon's mission is to become one of the fastest growing and top online retailer. And because places like Amazon rely on the online experience that goes through shipping and home delivery, there are high chances that this could become very successful. Think about 10 years or so, nobody would have thought that the retail Walmart would start selling groceries. Now Walmart want to be recognized not anymore as a department store, but rather a store that sells groceries, and then secondarily is a department store. Nowadays we have the ability to go online and shop and have our goods delivered pretty much within 7 days. Amazon has been experimenting for quite a while with the Prime service, which I have attended. I must say it's very convenient, especially if you do like to receive your goods without waiting more than like a week or so. Amazon Prime now has changed it into something that shocked everybody. So Amazon has now proposed the Prime Air. In fact, it's called Amazon Prime Air. So this is an ongoing experimentation that Amazon is still phasing through, but it involves the use of a self-flying drone. So this automated drone that will pick up from its base all your products under the weight of 5 pounds and deliver within 30 minutes, either to your front door or to your yard. It all depends how the layout of your house is. Now, this is something that comes out of science fiction, but it is in true coming reality. Also the DHL, the parcel chopper, or the parcel copter, I think it's called, started the experimentation phase, the testing phase. It's not anymore a matter of it will happen or not, but it's a matter of when it will happen. Think now how the retail experience will change. Think how people will react to the fact that if it is a little bit odd here and now that a drone will come to your door or to your backyard and it's going to drop your book, your pair of shoes, your sweater. Think in the next 5 years or even less, how common it's going to be. And this is one of the prime direct-to-prime thing that Amazon is aiming at. It is to make it as common as any courier or any postal truck will pull up at your door. That is indeed something very glorious, because if we have nowadays without a Prime account through Amazon, you have to wait sometimes 7 to 10 days or sometimes 2 or 3 weeks for certain delivery. In the next year or so, by introducing the Amazon Prime Air, even the regular Amazon Prime will start feeling a bit old. As the years go by, technologies improve, and we want their services to catch up as well. So we do want things faster, better, and of course cheaper. This is the trend that technology leads and everybody falls through. When we discuss about the retail experience throughout this sort of services, we can see how the perception of the online shopping and the physical shopping experience has been changing for the past 10 years or so. I remember when I was hearing for the first time services like Amazon or eBay coming out and growing, I thought was pretty grand actually. You have things that you never were possible to find at stores, then you will go online, place your order and have it at your door. So it was truly one click away from the greatest shopping experience. And the comments that follow suit after the expansion of these companies, well, competitors couldn't catch up because they never dared to adapt to the situation. So comes to a surprise if many competitors of Amazon, whether they are from the gadget side or the book side of you, are closing. Yes, sometimes the way this thing wages war, it's a little bit unfair, but in a capitalistic system, it's very hard to set rules of what is fair and what is not. Now, if we do look at how the current retail experience is laid out, you are meant to drive up to the store, enter the shop, browse through and ask to the clerk over there, where is your product, how much it costs, but most importantly, is it there for you? Now, how many times did we drive around from store to store to find the goods we were looking for? We spent a great deal of time driving and heading from one side of the city to the other, just look for a bunch of goods that we needed. How much time did we spend driving around and heading from one store to the next one, trying to find the one or two things that we were after, the one or two things that we wanted to buy? We spent a great lot of time on the road, wasting times and gas money that nobody's ever going to give us back. From one point of view, we have to see these online retail experiences as something that it's going to somehow help to shape the way transportation and logistics services will apply in the next decade or so, or even a shorter term than 10 years. Now, we were speaking of the experience when we were supposed to drive to our stores and go about our shopping. One thing that I always dislike about was the fact on how the customers always was meant to drive to the store, even though you were trying to sort of maximize your time and your effort without wasting any. So we wanted to go to the store, we drive to the store, we want to buy a few things, and we go up to the store and our staff is not there. Now, throughout the years, many stores understood the importance of customer satisfaction, not just for the experience of visiting the store, but for the experience of truly having and buying the goods that we're looking at. And services like booking, reservation, or sometimes small deliveries that happen to your local store did improve the results of many franchises. Now, how do we perceive the direction where the customers and the retail experience will go in the 21st century? We discussed in the past how customer satisfaction always had placed an important value into the outcome of the creation of new services. It's not only the availability of the goods, but it's how the brand evolves and how the brand introduces itself and how it serves the customers. But it's not only on how they get perceived, but on how and in which ways the brand connects to the people, on how it connects to the territory, on what infrastructure it comes up with, what it builds for the community, and how it shapes the layout of the community. It's not only something that impacts the local economy through numbers. It's only how it impacts the urban design of many neighborhoods. If you remember that not too long ago, you always had to drive to get your stuff because there was no online store. And you notice around how outside your home you will go hit the road, head through the major boulevard, and then all you see around with is huge spaces where a parking lot existed and warehouses were built with big shiny logo that welcomed you. So that was the brand engagement. That was how they impacted the neighborhood. So they created a very industrial lookalike, reshaping too many communities into industrial places. Nowadays, many brands shrank and started to abandon certain areas of the cities. With the changes that the economy went through in the past 10 years, many companies reshaped themselves. Some of them actually closed, some of them don't exist anymore. One of the cases that comes to mind in Canada was the brand Future Shop, which was a pretty famous name in north of the border of the US. Sells computer, software, appliances, music, and it was a very successful business up until 10 years ago or so. The news started to fly around where Best Buy would eventually buy or already was in the process of shutting it down. Nowadays, Future Shop doesn't exist anymore, and in Canada we pretty much only have one brand, which is Best Buy. Now, that doesn't add up too much for the competition. But as a result, when you don't have any more the physical retailer and you want better product, better prices, and better services, there's no surprise how many people in North America, or especially in Canada, will flock in mass towards the online retail. Amazon pretty much understood it. It didn't stop right there selling 10 years ago only like books or electronic. It started noticing that by taking the North American market, the Canadian market with electronic, it also established themselves as a major retailer and developing a better distribution and shipping network. So this is what happened. Now, if you do walk in one of these franchise by Best Buy, you notice how the store layout pretty much is all the same. It's another cookie cutter experience for the customers. And there you go, another warehouse where you have the blue and yellow logo that is pretty much visible from a couple of miles away, with a huge parking lot lagoon and those weekend rushes and those weekend huge line of the cash. You know what Best Buy does sell, and the expectation of this company, pretty much seeing from the customer point of view, are quite low, because customer know the company, know their practices, know the way the product's being promoted. They know that there isn't much of a competition they can go through. So Best Buy, it's still sitting comfortably unchallenged by other major physical retailers, up until somebody else has this crazy idea opening up a huge set of warehouses just like Best Buy and started directly competing. But I don't think it will happen. There is no more enough money, no more funds, no more capital to open up enterprises that had their best days up until 20 years ago. So how do these retailers survive? They do survive by monopolizing the territory, by creating a huge monopoly of brands. So people not only don't have any other option, in fact, other names like Radio Shack, that eventually became Circuit City, pretty much are becoming distinguished. They are rare to see, and their size, the ability to compete with them is pretty much gone. Once in a while you do see a Circuit City or Radio Shack somewhere around, but they're always more boutiques that have no ability to compete. And most likely these that do still exist in the downtown area in small entities, because people still need electronic boutiques. So rather than move or drive outside the city, they just head towards the local computer store. Now, this leaves no space for the small independent mom and pop shop, electronic shop. And it is the evolution of the market, the evolution of the physical retail. Now, how can they evolve? I think that the one way to evolve is to truly reshape the physical store, the layout, the experience. Retailers have to rethink themselves. They have to evolve to a point where they don't offer only the same experience, the same retail experience that you can have anywhere else or through other competitors. But it doesn't mean that each store has to be different from each other, but the customers must be engaged once again. So rather than build warehouses and have people strolling through into a labyrinth of shelves and display items area, the customers need to feel that it's walking again into an environment where he or she is very welcome, with great customer service, with a large variety of selection. Because nowadays, what kind of brand do we now find into computer stores? There's very few. We know there's the Apple. We know there's the Apple Island there with all the products. We know the other big competitors, which is Microsoft. And we do also know that there are other brands like HP, and pretty much that's it. So in the past years, in the past decades, all these big brands survived by removing the competition and buying them, or going through a hostile takeover and take them out of business. But it sort of also hurt their business practice nowadays. They can't compete with anybody. And once you don't have enough competition, you start to stagnate. Idea will start to be redundant. You won't be as innovative as it used to be, because there's no way to be as such. So your product lines become pretty much a series of repetitive products that they only do change once in a while to stay current with the design, with the color scheme, or with the physical size. So making products a little bit lighter, but that doesn't mean that they're still innovative. Now, how does this translate into better business opportunities? It does translate when you can really take the customer back to its basics, which is have the customer walk into the store. Make sure that whether it's one customer on its own or a family that is willing to spend thousands of dollars to purchasing computers or appliances, make them feel welcome. Do not offer a mechanical environment. Do not offer some sort of industrial welcome. Since already stores are pretty much, they are warehouses. It's only the interior, the decoration that makes a bit of a difference. Customers need to be welcomed. They need to be recognized not as numbers, but as single individual that are willing to spend their half of the day, but they have to go home happy and knowing that they're coming back. They're coming back to shop more, and they're not there just to quickly go through their shopping and have a bad day because the sales team wasn't trained properly, and all they got was like a very, very unpleasant day while spending like a lot of money on it. So what is one of the most essential things the customer always look when doing their shopping is the easy buying process, which is customers want to spend their money, go inside the shop. They don't want to drive miles and miles, stay in traffic to go there and have an unpleasant experience. So the customer service with an easy buying process makes the customer very happy. So satisfaction is highly regarded once we have a store, a physical store that still stands there and can still offer great customer service. So how do you achieve great customer service? It seems that people are on and off looking for some sort of a secret formula. All in all, what you need is to have a trained staff, nice enough to your customers, so the people who shop there, they don't feel treated bad. They don't feel treated as if they were numbers, but they are highly recognized as valuable customers. And through word of mouth, they can spread the news that they want to go back again. The store they just visited is a healthy store. People working there are really warm. They do welcome. They do treat the customer base as it should be. One of the first thing that comes to mind is that the feeling of being welcome has always been existing with a small store. The small store because you knew the owners, and you know that there's a very mutual relationship and of trust between the owners and the customers. So the whole clientele lost this feeling in the last 30-40 years as franchises got bigger and bigger and volume of the stores increases. There were no time for interpersonal relationships to develop, and everything became mechanical. It became a financial transaction that had no regards for who's the customers, what he or she wants, and when it's coming back again. Now, places like Starbucks tried to implement a recognition of the customers by having your drink with your name or whatever name you want to have written on, but in my opinion, it's a bit of a lousy way to connect to your customer base. Just a way to it's a gimmick, basically. You sell good because you are a good business. So you are a good business because you have good products, you have good customer care, because people feel that they belong into your premise. Yeah, it's not the name that's going to change people's mind. Although maybe Starbucks think that the experience that customer go through, it's great. So the cashier call me by name or whatever name that I want to be called. But bottom line is that you're just there for like a mere transaction. And if you notice, when you go to a Starbucks, there's always a bit of a line on purpose, so you have the time to stroll around, look around, so you can still browse and maybe opt to buy more stuff. So the basket for every single customer increases, and from your average just $2-3 coffee, you end up spending $5 to $10 for other drinks or other food. Another brand that comes to mind that has a very, very good customer service because spends a lot of money, spends a lot of time looking after strategies and looking after the communication side with the customer base, and it's IKEA. IKEA has been very successful for the last 4 or 5 decades. Why is that? It's a simple formula. IKEA works a lot with people and also with environment. It's a company that is investing a lot of resources into finding the right balance to have the good retail experience. Because all in all, If you are pushed to drive and to go to buy a product in a place where you don't want to be in the first place, it defeats the purpose for the business to provide a good retail experience, good customer service. IKEA has been very, very persistent, very resilient into finding the right formula to give a good product, to give a good design, and to give it a good price, and also without harming the environment. Because many people have this idea that IKEA is responsible for somehow the deforestation. True, the fact is that IKEA invests a lot in recycling. All their stores are heading towards 100% sustainability through solar panel, investing in recycling the material they don't use so it can be used once again. They're investing in new packaging technologies. They're investing on new logistic method to consume less and less fossil fuel. They're investing in LED. In fact, all their stores are trying to switch to LED with a low consumption. Now, switching to LED is a very, very large idea because the low wattage of LED allows you to have one lighting unit that's going to last you for years without having to replace it. And its low consumption combined with your solar panels, it will provide the necessary means to achieve your goals. And I'm sure there are many, many other companies that are trying to do so. However, we have to understand that it's not an easy task. Compromise between giving a product at low price and good design and keep at the same time to consider the aspect of being environmentally friendly. How can you achieve that? Well, IKEA did. And how did it do it? Simply listening to the people. There are many other businesses that do listen to the people and they're not recognized. We need to understand that the customer base, the people who visit your stores, are the backbone of your enterprise. Business out to cherish the criticism that comes with, whether it's negative, positive, utterly negative. You have to strike a balance. It's understanding that what you perceive might be the truth and not dwell yourself into a denial of numbers and statistics that your marketing department provided. This is one thing that I've seen a lot in my career. I had clients that defended themselves with a shield of marketing statistics that were doing great, and then at the same time they were bleeding cash. They were providing bad customer service. And speaking with project managers or some CEOs, all they could told was, "Oh, we're doing great. Projections are quite good." I'm sure they are good, but the truth of the fact is that if customers stop buying your products or your services, all in all, what you have to do is lay down a few people and you still have good projection. And what kind of legacy does leave behind? It leaves behind a bad legacy, not only for yourself, but for your business, because you're not leading anything. You're just leading the company to catastrophe. And by setting up a bad example as a big competitors, you indulge other people the same. So if you do inspire people to do otherwise, you might have created a good example, henceforth IKEA. But many other companies don't have this sort of patience, and the majority of business out there are out there to make money. They don't care that much for whether the customers is satisfied 100%. They just want a minimal satisfaction. They want that the customers go there, buy, spend their top dollars, create an okay environment, and then he or she comes again as many times as possible. Yes, you can go ahead and achieve that. You can go ahead and believe that this is your formula. But truth of the matter, that the people that come there are human beings that have a very good opinion as customers. Think about that on the verge of the online frontier where everybody can go online and buy pretty much anything. And think how quick for Amazon is to set up a delivery. I don't know if you ever heard about that tiny gadget. I forgot the name. It's a remote control. One click you order detergent, cereals, and milk, and within the next 24 or 48 hours, you have what you need at your doors. And just by clicking this device mouse. And it's one of those little things that you can just pocket in yourself or use as a keychain. So in light of this change, in light of this digital change, how do big retailers respond? Not very, very good in my opinion. Somehow we see how big retailers like Walmart do not invest a lot of resources into understanding how they can truly improve and they become true leaders. So how can competitors realize what they're doing wrong and how can they improve? Simply have to sit down and analyze by looking back at how their customer experience has grown or decreased in the past years. You can't deny the fact that there are many customers who stopped shopping at peculiar names, not only because they didn't find products they were looking for, or they stopped shopping there out of the bad philosophy that many companies still rely on. So we can go ahead and name many brands, many enterprises, but we all know that the true spirit of the positive retail experience is the one that offers a simple and honest method of shopping. We all know that it really doesn't take them much to create a positive environment for the customers. So we also have to understand there's a continuous mantra that between the physical shopping experience versus the online services, and there are many benefits that do come from both of them. So where is the future of retail going in the 21st centuries? Now we can discuss about the pros and the cons for next days, for next hours. The bottom line is always the human factor, is how your business interfaces with the customers, is how welcoming are your workers, are your employees towards the customers. Because by offering a very human shopping environment, you can only create a better and a suitable experience for the customers. And only that, although you can lay many improvement on your infrastructure, the best thing to know is always to keep a human side to your business. That is the true essence for the positive retail experiences, especially now in the 21st centuries where the competition is getting tougher and tougher.